That's beautiful, isn't it? For the last few years, I've been telling you about this change at Volkswagen, where the very stodgy German brand has been trying to be more youthful, lots more color and attitude. Unfortunately, this grey does not talk to any of that. But before I start complaining about the color, yes, I would have liked one of those nice bright new colors you get here on the European portfolio from Volkswagen. This is the R trim of the new Tiguan, the third generation. It is now based on MQB EVO, which is of course Volkswagen Group's platform that supports many vehicles across all their different brands. Having said that, the most in common it has is with the second generation of the Skoda Kodiaq. Both these SUVs expected in India very soon, and so makes sense for me to show you this one. I mentioned R trim, and so which is why you get the black elements like the wheel arches and the really sexy alloys. These are 20-inch wheels, low profile tires by comparison to what would be stock. Now in India I don't expect that at all, and that's a good thing because this actually does have a bit of a hard ride quality, so a little bit of softness will help. The wheelbase is identical to the second generation. The car overall though is a tad bit longer and just a tad shorter than the second generation. Now that second generation car to me really had a lot more character because it was sort of chiseled and a little bit macho looking, a little bit more SUV-like. This looks more modern, I get it, but it's very crossover-ish at a time when globally SUVs are once again becoming square and boxy. So I'm not so sure about that. I get why this has been done. If you look at the face, it's brand new. It does look modern, and it's more in keeping with the ID family rather than the Touareg or the Tiguan to me. Does have a lot of modern elements though, LED lighting front and back. They call it IQ light, which is at the top end only, and that's pretty much the matrix LED setup that you can opt for. Still no idea what we'll get in India, so I don't want to get into that. But you see the new pattern here in the bumper. Overall, the car looks pretty good, looks modern, but yes, just could have looked a little edgier. I would have liked that. So yes, the new gen Tiguan is very much like dal chawal. It might be simple, but it's the comfort meal many of us crave every now and then, which has to hit the spot. And the engine also reiterates this narrative. Now, there are a whole bunch of options when it comes to the powertrains on this new generation. The plug-in hybrids are available with 201 or 265 bhp options. The battery of the plug-in has a charging support of 11 kilowatt AC or 50 kilowatt DC fast charging. There are also the 48 volt mild hybrid petrol powertrains, the 1.5 litre 4-cylinder and the new generation 2 litre 4-cylinder that makes between 200 and 260 bhp depending on the variant. And then there's what I'm driving, the diesel, the 2 litre engine capable of churning out 190 bhp. And yes, all-wheel drive or 4Motion as Volkswagen calls it is on this car as well. The rest of it, the first impression you get in terms of the performance, the ride quality, and of course the dynamics, it's very much like the previous car, and that's a good thing because with a Volkswagen you have a certain expectation. You want the car to have a certain solidity, you want it to be very accurate, very precise, and this new generation certainly doesn't disappoint. The part I'm particularly happy with, the steering and the cornering ability of the car. Given the fact that these SUVs aren't small, it's always nice to see them performing really nicely when it comes to cornering, especially at higher speeds. Again, with the new Tiguan, you are pretty satisfied. You don't get a sense of body roll, you do get a sense of precision, and it's nice how the car goes into a corner and then also comes out of it, keeping its line exactly as you intend as the driver. The focus on this new car is really about tech when it comes to all the systems that assist the driver or even the voice assistant. there is really a lot more tech on this car as compared to the previous generation. Not like that one was doing too badly. Dark interior on this Tiguan, and of course there are options on that depending on the market, but the first thing that's really going to get your attention is that giant screen. It's a carryover from what we saw happening with the ID family. 15-inch screen, and it's also a pretty well done one in terms of the software, the OS. Very easy to use, very instinctive as well, and much better graphics than what we ever got from Volkswagen. So big welcome change, frankly. Then of course you've got the other thing you notice, which is there's no gear stick. And they've taken that away and they've put it up here. You might think that's Mercedes-like, but it's not an up-down function. It's a twist function to put it in gear. I have to say that it's clever to put it up here. Firstly, that's a carryover from ID as well. All the ID cars have that. And then you free up a lot of space here. So without having to artificially create little space nooks and bits, there's enough space to have your cup holders, and then you can use this little tray for small items. The nice thing though is that's pretty cleverly done, because you can raise that tray, and below that you've got 2 wireless chargers, not 1. You've also got 2 USB points in there, and the nice thing about this tray closing is that you don't keep glancing at your phone, which is probably a good thing. You've also got space then for this rotary dial. I have to say that while driving the car initially I kept going down to that dial for gear changes, because some cars do have a rotary dial, but this is a nice convenient way to change the volume. Yes, you can do that from up here on the steering wheel, but it's better than having to use this little slider, the little touch slider, where you've got to look at it really to get your finger to the right spot. So I like this. But that's not the only function of this dial. You push it down, and on this screen you suddenly start to see the different drive modes. That's pretty smartly done. It's a nice shortcut, so you don't have to get into the menu and get into the screen as you did have to with the initial iteration of this system on the IDs. And it's something you can do without really taking your eyes off the road. So I really like that. There is a screen here which also tells you the drive mode, and then the shortcut shows up here. There's also wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, the connectivity, and of course the integrated IDA assistant as well. Lots of options when it comes to tech. And lastly, in terms of styling, you've got this nice little panel that you see on the dash. You also have it on the doors that's inlit. I have it matching my clothes right now, but you can change the ambient lighting. So you've got the lighting, and you've also got that pattern, but you can change it. And for the first time, so much color from Volkswagen. That's not something you've been used to seeing. It's not just the 1 or the 2 options, it's a lot of options. ADAS is also part of the package. So that view that you see on that virtual cluster is all new. You get to see some of the passing vehicles, you get to see vehicles that are closer to you. You also have all the lane markings laid out for you quite clearly, and you can use the adaptive cruise control as well as the ADAS functionality, which is, I have to say, very sensitive but also very effective. Call that the Tesla effect, or in fact even the EV effect. The cabin also feels more like an ID model. Now, the big innovation from Volkswagen that came out at CES was the use of Chat GPT that's been integrated into its virtual assistant and all the search results that you get on the infotainment system. Still needs some perfecting though, I have to say. So let's give this a shot. What's the weather looking like this evening?
Sorry, I can't process your request at the moment.
Okay, let's try something else. How far is Berlin?
Sorry, I don't know how to do that yet.
Okay, one more try. Can you find me a Burger King?
Search for Burger King nearby. Please select a POI from the list.
Finally, something that works.
Sorry, I don't know how to do that yet.
See what I mean? Get me to the center of town.
Oh, that's something I still need to learn.
Let's earmark that part as a work in progress then, shall we? The Tiguan remains very central to Volkswagen's strategy for the Indian market, more as a brand shaper than a volumes puller. Yes, this third generation model will come to India by 2025, but with a petrol powertrain, sadly, which kind of sucks because the diesel is really fun to drive. But when we do get it, it will stand out for all those features that I talked about. Everything from the Tucson to the X-Trail, Kodiaq to the Gloucester, and even the Fortuner, frankly, are all fair game, all rivals to this one. But the fear I have is that all this tech will make the car even more expensive than its current 34 lakh rupee price point. How do you like the new Tig? Leave me a comment and share your thoughts, won't you?